What is going on, guys? It's the Variety Film Brothers. I'm Andrew.
I'm Thomas.
Welcome back to Variety Discussion, and in today's video we're talking about Suicide Squad. Not the Suicide Squad, not the good one. This is 2016 Suicide Squad, arguably the worst movie in the entire DCEU. I guess you haven't seen the entire DCEU.
No,
but
I haven't.
Would you say it's the worst one that you've seen from the DC movies, though?
Probably.
Probably?
Probably.
Yeah, there's so many, it is really hard to... It's really hard to pin one down. Yeah, just right out of the gate, let's get started with the scores because it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good at all. Thomas, what do you score this movie?
I rated it a 63.
Really?
Yeah.
I give it a 52.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be nicer to it than you were.
Yeah.
Because I have a little bit of nostalgia for this movie, believe it or not. It is, me and my fiance, we saw this movie as one of our first dates way back in the day. So it's, this movie is probably not old enough that I should be having nostalgia for it, but don't worry, it really doesn't give it very many points, because this movie is a roller coaster, but in all the wrong ways. Like, I feel like anytime somebody says, oh, that movie was a roller coaster, they mean it in a good way. Like, oh, it made me feel things. This movie just made me laugh. And that's why I love to watch it, honestly. Yeah. Like, this is one of my favorite bad movies of all time, and I'll stand by that.
It is pretty bad, but the reason why I gave it a 63 was because, like, it was bad, but, like, it's not worse than the Star Wars sequels. Like, the sequels actually made me really angry. This movie just made me laugh and kind of made fun of it a little bit.
See, but something to consider, though, is, like, you're a much bigger Star Wars fan than you are a DC fan. So when a bad DC movie comes out, it's not really gonna, like, you know, hit you like that. Like, as a fan, it's just bad. So I try to not think about it like, oh, is it worse than, like, the Star Wars sequels? Is it worse than this and that? I try to just be like, okay, on its own, as a movie, what do I think? And I had to give it a 52. I think it's honestly pretty generic when you get down to it. And they try to save that. They try to give it these crazy filters, these really weird, quirky lines of dialogue. But, like, it all falls so flat. It's really just not good. Yeah, the very first thing I wrote down is this movie starts crazy fast, crazy confused. And that might make you think, oh, this movie gets in really fast. It really catches your attention. It's actually somehow super boring. It's really weird. Like, the editing in this movie is off the walls crazy, but at the same time, you're not invested. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, they focus on, like, weird shots that just doesn't add any layer of, like, dramatic effect or, like, intensity. Like, there's literally just a shot of bullets casing falling on the ground for, like, 2 seconds. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a disaster, man. And it's really interesting comparing this movie to Guardians of the Galaxy. One of the things I think they were kind of trying to capitalize off of here, because this came out 2 years after the first Guardians movie. And when you think about it, they're kind of trying to do the same thing. The first Guardians movie, it had to introduce a bunch of characters and to make them a really good team. And I'd say it did that really well. And I think the reason it did that is because it had Peter Quill, Star-Lord, as pretty much the no argument, no contest main character. And then kind of had them tiered lower than that. But also they all have really interesting, really fleshed out relationships with each other. Like, Groot and Rocket were already together by the time that movie started. We haven't talked about the first Guardians movie yet, but spoiler alert for that. I love that movie like crazy. And this movie really tries to go for the same task, which is to introduce a bunch of new characters and then really get you to care about them not only separately, but as a team. And it doesn't do that. It fails so hard.
Most of the members of this group really don't do anything.
Right.
Like, Croc doesn't really threaten me that often.
No, he's supposed to be the scariest one.
Captain Boomerang, I don't care enough for. He's not a threat. The only person is a threat is
Diablo. Yeah.
He's a threat. He's the person that actually kind of scares me.
Yeah, I would say, like, as far as character goes, he's probably the best handled in the movie, because, like, he actually has a backstory. He actually has, like, sort of an arc that he goes through in this movie, and no one else really gets that.
Yeah.
And I think it really suffers because Diablo isn't really the leader of the team. I don't think the team really has a leader. If anybody, I guess it's Deadshot, but, like,
it's kind of Flag.
It also is Flag because he's, like, technically the leader, but, like, within just the team itself, I'd say Deadshot is the closest to being a leader, but I don't think it should be this questionable. You know what I mean?
They're all criminals, and you can't really change much of Harley Quinn, especially. Like, you can't change Harley Quinn in like what, a week?
Right. See, that's
Like-
another thing is like I don't even know the time frame of this movie. It's like
3 days. It's like
it's either 3 days or a week.
Yeah,
it's
it's-
really, really short.
it is. Like that's a problem.
It is, and I mean like it doesn't have to be a problem, but it definitely doesn't help.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it earlier too, but the dialogue in this movie is terrible. It really tries to sound super cool, super edgy all the time. And I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head that can really emphasize this. But I guess anything that Waller says, anytime they compare her to the devil, and anytime she just tries to sound like way cool and super intimidating, and it's just like, let's see examples of her power. Let's not just like
Talk about
have her say dumb stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's so over the top. Speaking of over the top, there is a song playing in almost every minute of this movie. Like every other scene has a crazy song blasting at you. And I think some people think that gives this movie points just because the movie has some good songs in it, that makes the movie better. But it really doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, imagine somebody's beating the crap out of you in an alleyway. And Thomas, what's your favorite ice cream flavor?
probably Rocky Road.
Rocky Road. Okay, so imagine you're being beat up in an alleyway, no mercy. And then, but he does have a scoop of Rocky Road ice cream that he hails at you. Does that make the experience any better, really?
No.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best analogy I could come up with for this, is that it's like, it's nice to have some songs here, I guess, but like, again, a big difference, or again, I feel like that's a big thing they tried to take from the Guardians movies, is that music was a big part of those movies, but like, there's a really good reason for that, because it has a lot to do with Quill's character and his backstory, and that's another thing. None of these characters really have too interesting of a backstory, except for Diablo. They try to, do the whole, like, Harley Quinn killed Robin thing that they put on the screen for half a second, but, like, who let them describe these characters with just literal words on the screen? Like, the saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words? Mm-hmm. Why take a movie, something that is moving pictures, and then just, like, devolve that back into words? Just because, like, that's the beauty of cinema, is that you can show visual stories. But then they literally decide to describe these characters with literal words on the screen, and it's like, it doesn't get more desperate than this, it doesn't get more lazy than this, like, come on. And it's funny because, like, each character does get at least a couple scenes before they come together. Mm-hmm. At least most of the characters do, like, some of them.
Yeah.
But they don't actually use those scenes to really develop the characters much at all. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It just kind of feels like filler.
Yeah. Again, like, I don't really know how much character development you can get out of these criminals that they choose, like these criminals that they choose, especially Harley Quinn.
Right.
Like, you can't change her in, like, a week.
No,
Like,
you can't really change any of these people in a week.
No.
And like I said, the only one that really has an actual arc is Diablo.
Yeah.
And I feel like they kind of screw up his arc, because this is a big thing. I'll go on and jump down later into my list. But basically, Deadshot just annoys him into using his powers. It's so stupid. It's so cheap. He literally basically just pokes him until he provokes him enough to get angry and start firebending. But, like, his whole arc, it's, one of regret. He regrets murdering his family. And I think most people would. I would hope, anyway. And so I think giving him, the opportunity to realize he can still save people with his abilities would have been a much better way to get him out of his shell than just trying to piss him off. You know what I mean? Like, if he could save a kid with his powers, I think that would be much better for that arc they tried to give him, again, as opposed to just cheaply trying to piss him off. It's so, like, dude, I swear they wrote some of these scenes in probably 5 minutes.
Yeah. I wish, like if they were going to piss him off, I wish they used better dialogue. Something better than just, hey.
It's literally, like, the cheapest...
McFly, you in there?
Like,
You in there?
Good reference. We need to talk about those movies. But, yeah, I literally can't think of a lazier, cheaper, faster way they could have wrote that. The fact that the director of this movie, David Ayer, like, I have nothing against this guy, but for years he's been saying that he made an amazing movie, and it was just the studio that messed it up. And it's like, dude, there's really nothing good about this movie. Like, you really, sure, you can take the filters out, you can, take out some of the dialogue, you can try to trim some of the fat off the movie a little bit, and would that make it a little bit better? Sure, but does that make this, like, the masterpiece that he says that it is? No. I don't think there was ever a version of this script that was a masterpiece, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Just imagine, like, someone gave, like, the script to George, he just takes one look, it's just like...
I really do think that just the fact that they let this script be shot just really... It's like they weren't even trying to give the DCEU a chance. Like, thankfully the DCEU is dead now. It's done, like, officially done.
It's
and they're
in the grave.
Yeah, and they're doing a new, starting a new... and speaking of James Gunn, speaking of the Guardians movies, he's going to be in charge of that new DC universe, and I have super high hopes for it. But I think the DCEU is also going to be this really interesting thing to look back on as like, well, it could never get worse than this. I have in my notes, I like the idea of cameos from Batman and the Flash. I think that's a good idea, because, like, that's something that Marvel is struggling with right now, is keeping all their projects interconnected and making it feel like they all are part of the same story, and I think that does help in this movie. See some Batman, see some Flash. I like that. The scenes themselves, though, I don't think are very good. The one with Flash is super rushed. The idea that Waller called Batman to take out Deadshot is kind of stupid, because she's all, like, trying to recruit this team to replace Superman, and she's literally in contact with a guy that kicked Superman's ass, and, I mean, it was a skewed fight, but still. She's in contact with Batman, and then she just doesn't recruit him for this team, or doesn't have any contact with him, really. I mean, she talks to Bruce Wayne later on in the movie, but she doesn't know he's Batman, obviously. It's all a big mess, but I like the idea of trying to keep it a little bit connected, and I admit maybe that gave the movie a couple points for me, just barely edged it over into the 50s, but it really doesn't have much bearing on the rest of the movie, I don't think. And next up in my notes, every scene with Enchantress's brother is really strange, especially the scene that he's kind of introduced in. So they're very touchy-feely for brother-sister, and I already don't like that. That's already bad enough. But the way they, like, added this blurry filter over the scene where he's, like, waking up, it's literally, it literally looks like I'm having a migraine. Like, I've had a bunch of really bad migraines throughout my life, and, like, one of the first things that happens is my vision gets super blurry, but it, like, moves around in different places, and they thought that would be a good idea for this scene, and I think it's supposed to, like, represent his consciousness slipping in and out, but, like, it's terrible. Enchantress as a character is terrible. Her brother as a character is terrible. They make for awful villains. They're not even one-dimensional. I don't even think they have one dimension to them. Like, tell me one thing about the Enchantress. Like a character trait.
She likes her brother.
Sure. I guess you got me. I was gonna say she just likes to be creepy.
Yeah, like, she likes to make out with her enemies. Or not her enemies, but her allies.
She makes out with several people, I think.
So
that's another thing I didn't write down about this movie, but we definitely talked about it a lot. This movie's very sexed up.
It is.
And not in, like, a good way, and really just a lot of unnecessary ways. Like, they try to make everybody look, like, really hot. And, I mean, you've got Margot Robbie. She's gonna look hot regardless, but, like, you guys can calm it down a little bit. Like, maybe don't give her an outfit that's, like, 3 sizes too small for her. Maybe, like, have Diablo wear a shirt sometimes.
Yeah.
And again, like, a little bit is fine. It's not a big deal. But, like, they've got Enchantress making out with people. It's just, like, what was the idea here? What was, like, the point? Because it's never for, like, any character-based reasons.
Yeah. Also, you do not want to have a lap dance with the Joker. I tell you that much. Oh my gosh.
Speaking of Jared Leto's Joker, I think he might be the worst part of this movie. I'm not gonna lie.
He ruins the character.
He really does.
Absolutely
of all the
it.
bad stuff in this movie, of all the bad, like, casting, I think his performance is the worst. I think his presence in the movie makes it just that bad. Like, this was already a bad movie regardless, but apparently there was a lot more Joker footage that they did, and a lot of it ended up getting cut out. And
thank you.
Yeah, thank God, dude. Because it's terrible. The fact that anybody was on set looked at Jared Leto's performance and thought, yeah, this was good. We did a good job here. You're crazy. You guys are nuts. Dude, I cringe just watching any scene that he's in. Imagine being in the room while he's giving that performance. Getting a little bit more back on track. Slipknot, I think I had to remind you of what his name even was. His character makes Captain Boomerang look cool. Like, he is just so lame. It is
nothing.
It is hilarious. Like, we'll talk more about lame superheroes in the next Suicide Squad movie and how they're done a lot better. Because I don't think the idea of lame superheroes or supervillains is bad in general, because in the next movie they really make it work. But in this one, they really want you to think Slipknot is cool. They really want you to think Captain Boomerang is cool. And it's so obvious that Slipknot is going to die because he doesn't get one of those flashy, intro cards. He doesn't get any sort of, flashback scenes, any setup. It's literally just they drag him out of the car, and Rick Flag goes, "And here's Slipknot, the man who can climb anything," which he can't really climb anything because
he zip lines.
He harpoons himself anywhere he needs to go. I don't think he looks strong enough to be able to climb anything, but that's just me. So yeah, when he dies, obviously you feel nothing. And you don't even really get that sense of oh, anybody could die now. Because again, they gave everybody, at least most everybody, quite a bit of attention before that point. Mm-hmm. So when you only give one person absolutely nothing, they're just gonna, his only purpose is to die.
Yeah.
And again, jumping back to the sequel, the Suicide Squad sequel, that movie opens, I think 20 characters die in the first 10 minutes. And that's how you do that. You know what I mean? When everything's even, you don't know what's gonna happen, and the characters that die, a lot of them later on are played by celebrities. So you don't normally expect celebrity characters to die that fast. Mm-hmm. So again, it's just done so much better there. But again, they had a lot to learn from here. I just want to know, you guys have got to be able to find cooler comic book characters than Slipknot, the man who can climb anything, and Captain Boomerang. Because, this is awful.
Why does he have a triple life sentence, is what I'm wondering.
Yeah, we only ever see him steal diamonds and kill one guy.
That doesn't bring someone a 3 times life sentence.
Yeah, no, that's
ridiculous.
That's pretty crazy. That dude must have been the president or something. But yeah, the idea that you have these super lame characters that are supposed to, be able to rival Superman, she's all Superman's dead, we gotta find a new group of protectors.
That's not even close.
And it's you grabbed the crazy girl with a baseball bat and Captain Boomerang. Why did the movie shoot itself in the foot like this? Why are you setting up these lame characters to try and be more than they really are? Like I said, you can do cool stuff, fun stuff with lame characters. You could actually do a lot of fun stuff with that. But why are you setting them up to look so stupid? You know what I mean? If you have a character like Captain Boomerang in your movie, don't even mention Superman. Don't even bring him up, because, it's completely different tiers. You know what I mean? Superman is, arguably one of the most overpowered...
He's a god,
he might be one of the most overpowered characters in fiction.
Oh, yeah.
And then Captain Boomerang. Pretty self-explanatory. So, again, I don't mind that you're making a movie about Captain Boomerang, but let's not talk about Superman, because it's only going to make you look stupid. You know what I mean?
So, was that group supposed to be a replacement for Superman to fight off, whatever her name was? Was that,
Kind of. The quote that she used was, "What if the next Superman tore off the roof of the White House and tried to murder the president or something? What would we do? Who would stop them?" And so this is the group that she assembles to resolve that.
First off, they're not going to do shit.
No.
Superman is overpowered.
Oh, yeah.
F. Like, dude, he is insane.
Yeah, dude.
I think the only person that might have a chance is Diablo.
Maybe for a few minutes.
Maybe for a few minutes if he, like, charged up, like, his power. But the rest of them are not going to do shit.
Yeah, dude,
they're
you line up this group of the Suicide Squad, all Superman has to do is laser vision.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
And just wipe him out. That would be the end of the movie. You'd have a 5-second movie on your hands. And it's like, again, you can have lame characters, but don't set up this plot of, oh yeah, they're going to replace Superman. They're going to be able to take on the next Superman. You have Harley Quinn. You like the baseball bat girl. And, you know, even Deadshot, someone who, yeah, it's pretty lethal. Mm-hmm. Like,
bullets can only do so much damage.
Exactly. Like it doesn't matter what angle he shoots Superman at. Like, it doesn't matter. It's so silly, dude. It's hilarious.
No, he gets the perfect angle to shoot a bullet straight up his ass.
All right, that might work. Deadshot, you got a 1% chance. But yeah, dude, it's setting people up to laugh at this movie.
Yeah,
it really is. It's not doing any favors.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, next up, my 2 favorite lines from the movie. First, I think this one's pretty obvious. From Deadshot, I'm not going to do a Will Smith impression because that would just make me look real bad. But he says, "What are we, like some Suicide Squad?" And I'm just like, how did that one not get an Oscar for him? Like how is this not an Oscar-winning performance for Will Smith?
Yeah, let's go. That's my Will Smith right there.
No, in all seriousness, that line should not have gotten past the rough draft of the script. Not even the rough draft. He should have typed that out. Realized, nope, backspace that right up. Like, because you don't need that, and that's just something I don't like in any movie when they, like, say the title, and it's all like, I mean, obviously, like, The Avengers, you can't avoid that. In such a rushed, just kind of casual way, it's so weird. It just makes you cringe, doesn't it?
And
just
to have Will Smith say it, too, not anybody else, just him.
Yeah, no,
man, that's stupid.
I mean, I don't think there's a good way to say that, but, like...
Just don't say it at all.
Exactly, just don't say it at all. And then my second favorite line, from Captain Boomerang, I don't know why I like this line so much, is when he's yelling at Harley. He goes, "Why is it always a knife fight every single time you open your mouth?" It's just one of those lines that just makes you go, wow, they could just write anything in this one. Like, they... Honestly, like, there's no reason why I wrote down the line. I just think it's funny. It's just something that just got stuck in my head from the first time I watched it.
I think the only line that actually made me laugh was whenever Harley Quinn was talking about something. I don't know what she was talking about. Then Flag goes, "Lady, shut up!"
Dude, the dialogue in this movie is just absolutely bananas.
Like, he came out of nowhere with super loud and just dramatic goes, "Lady, shut up!"
See, like, a lot of the dialogue is so blunt in this movie. Like, it's just so, like, slap in your face. You know, it reminds me a lot of, like, the Star Wars prequels, like... Which I love, by the way. This movie's leagues below the Star Wars prequels.
Oh, yeah.
Even Phantom Menace, the weakest link of the 3, I think is way better than this. But it really is just them saying what they feel with no subtext. Like, what comes to my mind immediately is when June was telling Rick, you know, she was just like, "If it comes down to me, don't choose me." You know, and it's like... They weren't talking about that before. It was just right after she got, like, transformed back from being Enchantress. So, like, is it super random? No, but, like, it doesn't work, you know, because, like, it's a pretty big thing to have a conversation where you're talking with your loved one and you're like, if you have to kill me, kill me. And, like, to have it, like, just basically out of nowhere, and again with zero subtext... It's just, it doesn't make you feel for these characters, because they really want that relationship between Flag and June to be a big backbone of this movie. One of the main heroes and one of the main villains. And, you know, like, I think it's an interesting dynamic in theory. You know, you could really have that work, but the relationship just falls flat. Most of it is skipped through, most of it is just, has the worst dialogue of the movie. It's bad.
Yeah. Maybe Flag just has a kink for witches.
I mean, I don't see how the relationship could have lasted that long if he didn't.
But I will just say this about Croc, though. He looks like a deep-fried testicle.
That he does, Thomas, that he does. As soon as he made that joke while we were watching the movie, I was like, Thomas, write that down, please. I don't want to forget about that. Killer Croc looks terrible
Yeah.
Absolutely awful.
It's pretty bad.
Like, I don't know how this design got past any group of people. He does not look like a crocodile at all. He's, like, oddly really pale, and just, he doesn't look like a crocodile. He doesn't even have a tail.
No.
And it's
He's also
like...
kind of skinny.
See, it's like, he's not skinny, but, like, they made his, like, traps, like, super big. Like, his traps go, like, from his cheekbones, like, to his shoulders.
And it just
And...
makes his, like, biceps and his torso look very skinny.
Exactly. Like, what exercises, what workouts are you even doing to, like, bring your shoulders up to your ears? Like,
he was doing those weird push-ups in the movie where, like, you would, like, spread your legs out and then have, like, one arm like this and one behind your back and just do this. But, like he would, like, force them, like, really high up. And it looked weird.
I don't think that's going to do anything for your traps.
I don't think that
so I would not recommend following Killer Croc's workout routine because, well, look at him.
What does that man eat? Just raw meat?
I think they actually give him fish, which is pretty crazy because fish are very calorie and nutrient dense. And I forgot what they called it exactly that they gave Deadshot, but it was some kind of...
Was it meatloaf?
It looked like meatloaf. It also kind of looked like a dried ramen packet.
But yeah, I will have to say, though, the witch's design and the CGI for her is awful.
Everything about her character just seems extremely rushed. And that's also something I was going to bring up with her, is that the visions that she gives the characters close to the end of the movie are all super stupid. This whole scene is so cheap, so lazy, such a lame, boring way to try to make you feel something for these characters. But, like, really, it's super out of character for everybody.
Harley Quinn is an idiot for thinking that she's going to get the Joker to change and have 2 kids with her.
See, when in the movie does she really even imply that, like, she wants that? Because I know she has the scene in the bar where she screams about, like, being normal. Like, we're never going to be normal. But, like, I don't even think she wants to be normal. We've seen the relationship she has with the Joker. Nothing is normal about that. Nothing is good about that. But, like, and then they try to tell us that, oh, she actually secretly really wants this super peaceful, normal life with the Joker where they have 2 kids. And it's like, no, I don't think she wants that. I don't think she expects that even a little bit.
No, she wants to go out every Saturday night and, like, get it into, like, a tub of acid and make out it, like, in it. That's what she wants to do.
I mean... That sounds pretty in character. Like, she seemed pretty excited the first time, but, and then we see Deadshot, and then that one is really stupid, because, like, at least in Harley Quinn's vision, you know, like, it would make sense for Enchantress to give her that vision, because, like, she's saying she could bring Joker back to life, but, like, in Deadshot's vision, he just kills Batman. He can do that already. Like,
he could do that right now.
Yeah, he could do that, like, right now. Just go back to Gotham, catch Batman on an off night, and kill him. But, like, so I don't know what Enchantress is thinking, giving him a vision of that. And then, what else do we got?
Vision gets... Vision?
Vision?
Rick.
Yeah, Rick.
Yeah.
Dude, that one really makes no sense, because he's like, hey, Rick, I can give you June. But, like, you're using her body. You literally, that's the one thing you can't, like, they know you can't do. But, like, I don't think she could even bring anybody back to life in the first place. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, and the same with Diablo. He gets a vision, and then he's able to snap out of it, which I guess I like, because he has already accepted that his, you know, what he's done. So I guess that's something small that I like from that scene, but, like
that
it's
vision,
awful.
That vision, like, would never happen in real life anyways. Like, she brought back the 2 characters, really 3 characters that would never be able to actually come back to life. Right,
and, like, I don't even think she has that ability. Like, she has the ability to, like, zombify people or whatever.
Bring back your brother.
Yeah, exactly. If you're able to just raise people from the dead all of a sudden, like, just bring back your brother.
Yeah.
And then, like, honestly, the fact that she even, like, she's all like, you guys have fought well, and now I want to give you mercy. Like, they just killed your brother. Like, that was the only thing in the whole movie that you've shown that you care about. And,
too much.
And then, yeah, he just died. And then, like, she's all like, you deserve mercy. Once again, I gave you the chance to be on my side. And it's like, it's just for that cheap moment, you know, where they can, like, refuse. Yeah. And speaking of that moment where Harley cuts her down, that sword is literally right at Enchantress's feet. And they think just because it's not in every single frame of, you know, every single part of that scene, that Enchantress doesn't see it. And it's like, no, she's dumb, but she's not blind.
Yeah. Okay, so Harley Quinn and the witch making eye contact, right?
Mm-hmm.
She has the high ground. She has the high ground of her bending over getting the sword. The sword's gonna be in her field of vision anyway.
Exactly. It's a very poorly written scene. It's a very poorly framed scene, executed in every way, shape, or form.
She just takes it too. It's hilarious. She doesn't even dodge it, block it. No, she just takes it.
She's such an unintimidating villain. Like, I'd say we've probably got like a top 5 worst superhero movie villain, just like of all time, probably.
And like her reason for destroying the world is so not there, because like I think she just wants to destroy the world for no reason.
She's
right?
like they don't worship us anymore. Now they worship their cell phones, and it's like
it's such a bad reason to blow up the world.
If your main villain's motivation is introduced and summarized in one line, that means it's bad. Like, that means it's not good. So yeah, obviously you feel nothing when Enchantress dies. There's no character there. And then the fact that June is able to come back makes no sense, because they establish over and over, you killed a heart, you killed a girl. And then, like, they kill the heart, and then June's fine, so hooray!
She takes off her
face
mask.
She peels away her, like, charcoal face mask, and is like, that's better.
I'm still in underwear.
Yeah, no, that design, that costume design is awful.
Also covered in mud.
Yeah, everybody gets a pretty awful character design.
I'm just gonna make up my boyfriend right now.
Why not? I'm already covered in mud. That was already 80% of the work done. But my last note I had for this movie is honestly a pretty big complaint. Deadshot and the rest of the group, except for Captain Boomerang, I guess, they're pretty okay with just going back to prison. Like, Deadshot, somehow agrees to only seeing his daughter one more time, and then going back to jail forever, and it's like, literally in that last moment, he could have killed Waller right there. I mean, sure, he's changed as a person a little bit, maybe. I mean, not really, though, let's be honest. But, I mean, come on, if it really came down to, like, having to kill one more person to, be able to run off and be with his daughter and not have to be in jail anymore, you don't think he would take that?
No, he would.
Because that's like the one big thing they established for his character throughout the movie. He loves his daughter, loves his daughter, loves his daughter. And then he's okay with only seeing her one last time. And for what? You know what I mean? And then Harley Quinn's is arguably even worse, because she's like, I'll go back to jail, but I need my coffee. You gotta get me that espresso machine. And, like, dude, Harley Quinn's crazy. I would, like... I just... Nobody is in character here. The only one that, like I said, rejects this, isn't happy about this, is Captain Boomerang. And then we see him scream about it more later. But, like, it's so lame, dude. Like, the fact that all these characters... Because, like, this movie is supposed to be all, like, edgy and, like, oh, it's about the bad guys. But they all, like, end the movie being presented as somewhat decent people. And it doesn't work, especially for Harley Quinn, because we see her in later movies still basically be the same person that she is. So it's like, dude, honestly, just end this movie with them killing Waller and, like, just going nuts and going their separate ways. Wouldn't that be a much more interesting way to end this movie? Like, certainly it would make it more memorable. Mm-hmm. The fact that they're all like, well, we know we just did that, super deadly mission for you guys and, risked our lives and, we hated the whole experience of it, but sure, we'll just go back to jail, no questions really asked.
Also, I have one thing to add. During that scene, whenever Flag breaks it, and, like, Captain Boomerang just dips out,
oh, yeah.
And then he confesses that he had, like, a bunch of letters from his daughter, why would Deadshot agree to help him after that?
Oh, yeah, no, that's, if anything, that should have made Deadshot even more mad, because...
Like, I feel like Deadshot probably would have killed him, at that point. Just like, you kept these from me?
Yeah, I mean, the motivations of all these characters, they go all over the place. It's just whatever the script needs them to do at any given moment. And it's just, again, it's very uncompelling. It's very unmotivating.
My gosh, it's awful. I do have one more. I have a couple things. The dialogue is awful. I also hate the flirting conversation with Harley and one of the guards. that really made
yeah.
me hurt. Like, that cringed. That's awful. Like, that actually made me, like, curl up into a ball. Made me want to confess to my sins.
Oh yeah, you think I don't like sand is bad? Like
this is worse.
Try
like,
listening to some of this crap.
This is awful. And also, why is Deadshot poor?
Yeah, that's something we were talking about a little bit, is that they really don't flesh out the backstories of these characters and like their lives. Really, they'll just show like one or two scenes and then be like, yeah, this is where they are. But like, if Deadshot is doing missions even once a month where he's making $1 or $2 million, he's going to be pretty well off.
Yeah. Listen, those McDonald's prices will get you.
I mean, you're right, dude. That dollar menu, it's not around anymore.
Nah. And also, I wish his training was better. I wish all of their training was... I think Deadshot was the only person that actually had a training scene, right?
Or like an evaluation to see like how useful he actually is.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a really good point. And that scene itself isn't even good. Like, they selected these people, and like, Flag doesn't even have any evidence that they don't suck until they get out into the battlefield. The only one that they evaluate is Deadshot, and he gets a pretty generic scene.
Yeah.
Like, they just stick some stuff for him to shoot out in front of him, and...
It should have moved, by the way, those objects.
Oh yeah, you could have made that scene so dynamic. I say you put him in this crazy advanced room, things are moving, he's got his suit back, he's got his whole arsenal, and they're just like, alright, show us what you can do, but we're not going to take it easy on you, because, you know, they keep saying over and over, we don't care if you die, we don't care to screw you over, but at the same time, Waller really considers them important, and she's, like, really obsessed with getting this team together, so I don't believe it when she says, I don't care if you die. I think she's actually pretty invested.
Yeah. You know what would be interesting, though? If they put Deadshot in a room and told him, hey, kill everything that you see, and then they added Diablo in the room and told him, hey, capture
Oh, like had
Deadshot.
them fight?
Yeah.
That would actually be a
Capture
really cool scene to have, even just a couple of them fight each other. But like, they're all on such different power levels.
But like, I mean, like, have like Deadshot and Diablo be like in a do you know like that scene where like it was the one where Harley Quinn went to like a
Elevator.
yeah, and like have it like that scene, how like everything's like so close to each other, like you have desks and like things to like move around in. Maybe that like environment would work.
Something just more variety, because like all the action in this movie, or at least 95% of it, is just people shooting things in a dark room or a dark setting, and the cinematography of this movie is awful. For some reason, a lot of shots just look very fake. Like, you know, there's one shot where Captain Boomerang is just standing in front of a window, and the building behind him is on fire, and it straight up looks like a guy standing in front of a PS2 video game. It's really weird, just like how, I mean, not that the rest of the movie looks good, but like, it's just weird how, like,
it's so blurred. I think
this movie was like blurry in some places.
Not great. It's really not. Like,
just odd. This movie as a whole is just odd.
It is. But yeah, that's everything I have.
That's everything I had too. I think that was honestly a lot more than really needs to be said about this movie. So excited to get into the sequel, though. We're not going through the entire DCEU. There's so many titles in that series that I just don't care about. So we're just going to skip around as we please. Next up is the Suicide Squad sequel, which is going to be such a jarring experience, placed right next to this one, because spoiler alert, that movie's really good. Love that movie. That video is going to be a completely different tone than this one. But I think that wraps us up. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you've made it all this way into the video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace!